Welcome back, everybody, to our podcast. My name is Bree.
I'm Kelsey.
And this is Natasha Kravapizza, yes, from that house of Belarus.
Welcome, Natasha.
Madame. So, today's discussion is going to be very interesting.
About a filthy cousin of mine. She got very...
Uh-huh. Today we're going to be discussing why does American Horror Story, the hotel season, get so much hate?
Not only that, but we're going to be defending it from the haters. So if you're a hater, get ready.
Please watch it.
Let's go. So, yeah. Apparently, you can already tell, we all enjoyed it.
Yes.
Fight me.
I do think that we enjoyed it for, different aspects of it.
Well, of course.
100%.
There was different. I mean, when I was told that there was some hate behind it, I was like, but why? But why?
Yeah. I didn't understand either. I didn't hear about the hate until a long time after it first aired. Then I was like, wait, why is everybody mad? We had vampires, we had ghosts, we had serial killers,
We had
gay.
gayness.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be our audio essay of why American Horror Story Hotel did not deserve the hate, the criticism, and the homophobia that it received.
Yes, it's not necessarily a review. It's literally just us telling you
A defense of Hotel.
in defense of hotel.
Yeah, in defense of Hotel. So, one thing is a review, but we will be talking about scenes from the show. Once again, spoilers ahead, like in almost everything we do.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm eating a delicious little treat made from the salty tears of children. No, I'm not. I'm eating Starburst jelly beans, the Easter edition,
Of course.
and they're so good. And I'm so sorry, you guys. They are addicting, though. I need to take the bag away from myself. Can you hear it? It's
Yes.
half empty now. Chewing ASMR, gross, disgusting. So I do like one thing that I do immediately like about this series is that it starts out from the perspective of a detective, and for a millisecond you're like, is this going to be a propaganda move series? And it's not. It turns out to be quite the opposite, literally.
Yeah. Can you
And
talk about the plot a little bit before we get into it?
oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so if you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're listening, but the plot is pretty much about the Hotel Cortez in Los Angeles, California.
Loosely based off of the Cecil Hotel that is now getting a round of much deserved recognition into the pop culture.
And not just the Cecil Hotel, it's also loosely based on H.H. Holmes' Murder Castle Hotel. And
Yeah.
H.H. Holmes was a famous serial killer who I will get into, but Evan Peters' character in the series is loosely based on him. But it's a hotel that catches the eye of the homicide detective that we were just talking about. And it's
Yeah, so the detective basically gets a phone call saying, "Oh, if you want to find me, I'm staying at the Cortez in this room, and that's where you're gonna find me." So he goes there and he asks for this room, and they're like, "Oh, we don't rent that room out." And then one of the characters is like, "No, no, it's fine. Here's the key."
hmm.
Mm, foreshadowing. Ooh, spooky. Anyway, so later on in the series, we understand why he was given the key to that room. It's not one of the points that I was going to focus on in the podcast. I think, Kelsey, that was one of yours. So I'm just going to hand it off to you from there.
Oh, I wasn't gonna focus on the detective either.
Oh, was no one going to focus on the detective story?
You want my honest
It's not
opinion
my
about the
favorite.
detective
It's
thing?
not
Get into it.
it's not my favorite storyline. But let's just give a quick synopsis because I do feel like it is kind of the thread that carries some of the episodes together.
Yeah, essentially, there's this serial killer that's going around Los Angeles or whatever, and he's known as the Ten Commandments killer, and that's who he's trying to find. How do I explain this without just saying the spoiler, honestly? Because I did not care enough about the detective storyline to pay.
Okay, so the detective
Well, no,
storyline is
hold
not
on.
our favorite, so
Hang on. Here, let me make it real simple. It's a detective story where he catches the killer, but the killer's not who you expect.
there you
I
go.
fucking knew right away, honestly.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
same.
know, but like to give the without actually saying the spoiler, that's what it is. It's a
It's
very
also
basic one.
okay, I'm just gonna spoil it. He is the serial killer. If you haven't watched the season yet, I'm sorry, that's not my fault. It's been out for like 70 years. He is a serial killer. The only reason I'm saying this now is because part of the arc of the story is those who check into the Cortez oftentimes have a very difficult time checking out. Yet for some reason, he seems to come in and out of the hotel unscathed for the most part. And it's never really explained until the very end. And it's one of the things about the show where you're like, what the fuck, when you're first watching it. So, I mean, you saw it coming, you saw it a mile away that he was going to be the serial killer. And that's, I guess, their explanation to why he's like the least affected, I guess, even though I
He's
don't.
very much affected. He's affected.
He's
but
very
not
much affected,
really.
but yeah, he doesn't die in the hotel, but it makes him more killery.
Yeah.
And then there's this weird tie to the main star of the show, the Countess, where she kidnaps his child, I guess, right before he turns into a serial killer. Anyways, he is my least favorite character on the show, and he is the least interesting and I guess purposely unsympathetic, but like still to the point of like, I'm like, why is he in the script?
I thought he was more sympathetic than his wife. I did not like her. Like, I liked her in the beginning when she was like very much like, I don't want to take care of people's kids who don't get their kids vaccinated or whatever.
Vaccinated, like
I love
iconic
that.
line.
But when she abandoned her daughter, I was like, no, fuck you. I hate you. Like, fuck off. Like,
Yeah.
that pissed me off.
It was not like you did not feel bad for like I guess you felt bad for the daughter. I
I
felt
felt
bad
bad.
for the daughter. But the parents I really didn't empathize with their characters, and this isn't to like say that the actors performed it badly. It's just like it wasn't clicking for me. Like it didn't make me empathize. I wasn't invested in their storyline. Every time one of the episodes would focus on him, like it would be hard for me to focus on that episode.
I
Ew,
think
can
the
I say
only thing
focus
I liked
anymore?
about his storyline was like the murders themselves because they were interesting to
Yeah,
watch and
no, the
look at.
murders themselves were really cool, and like the staging of the murders was super interesting. Was it an original idea? The seven deadly sins, the Ten Commandments, murders based
No,
around
but it
that?
was still
No,
fun.
it's not. But it was like a nostalgic early 2000s TV trope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that was my main issue with the entire series was just that storyline. I understand that it like tied up certain things with the main storyline, but it also felt super out of place. So I just did not care. I didn't care about anything that related to them except for their daughter, who I was like mad that they did that to her. Like she did not deserve that. Poor babe. But should we get into talking about the Countess? Because it's
Yeah,
mainly
let's
about
talk
her.
about characters we actually do like.
Yeah. So we were going to talk about characters we actually like. Do you want to start with the Countess, or do you want to start with numero uno?
Well, it's your episode to lead, so you tell me.
We'll start with the Countess. We'll start with the Countess. As everybody knows, this is like her first. This is, I think, Lady Gaga's first time around in American Horror Story. Like we needed a replacement for Jessica Lange, because I think this was the season after Freak Show, wasn't it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we get Lady Gaga, which we were very excited for. And not only is it Lady Gaga, it's Lady Gaga as a vampire, a bisexual, rich vampire called the Countess. Like, gay, homosexual, just everything that we've ever wanted. Am I wrong? I remember having conversations in high school being like, I want to see Lady Gaga as a vampire in like one of her music videos or something. I remember having this conversation with one of
Yes,
you.
we did. I can confirm.
And it finally happened. What did we like about her? I don't want to be the only one talking about her.
Well, let's talk about like basically having the role written for you. I mean, she was perfectly cast. She executed her role literally. She killed a lot of people. We both saw like the most adorable things that we liked about Lady Gaga as a person, like little characteristics that she actually has in real life, as well as kind of like amplifying this character that she was playing. I really love her in this role. That's all I have to say about it. The fashion, the makeup, the almost like 1940s esque mid Atlantic accent that she adopted for the character, the little like almost characterizations that she does with her voice, like in one of the first scenes that we see her when she's laying on the bed with the what was his name in the show?
Oh my God. Wait, which one are you talking about? Are we talking about Matt
Um,
Bomer?
Matt Bomer. Yeah, what was his character's name?
Isn't it like Donnie or something? Hold on. I had it up. It is dun, 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 Matt Bomer. Donovan.
Donovan. So Donovan is ODing on a bed, and he's gonna be like this is a flashback essentially, and
Yeah.
Lady Gaga is sitting next, well, kind of like lounging next to
Yeah.
him in this denim jacket, just bedazzled to high heaven, with like rocker hair and like glasses and a cigarette with like ripped up leggings, and she's like, "Oh, honey, your son has a jawline for days." Ah, it
Can we
was.
talk about the scene where where she was first introduced, and it's like "Tear You Apart" by She Wants Revenge is playing in the background. You see
Oh,
this beautiful man in a bathtub, and she's sitting in front of her vanity, snorting
yeah,
cocaine, getting
yeah.
her corset on, and they walk into a cemetery, the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, to go watch Nosferatu.
Head
And
to
it's
toe red.
head to toe red, very much kind of like the big opening scene in The Hunger, but instead of a goth club, it's the cemetery, and they meet this couple that they bring home with them. They're like getting ready to have a foursome, and Lady Gaga's ass is out, which I was very appreciative of that.
A
And
dancer's
then
ass.
dancer's ass. And these vampires don't have teeth. They have to use these nail gloves or whatever. And so they slit these people's throats, and they're all naked and they're drinking their blood whilst
While
naked
orgasming, by the
and
way.
while orgasming. It is the best opening scene to a
It is
series
like equal
ever.
parts gay, erotic, disgusting, gory, irreverent, just like when they call us like degenerates, this is the kind of debauchery that they're referring to. And honestly, yes, sign me
I
up.
love it.
Lady Gaga can wear her little razor glove nail thing and slit my throat any day. And I literally will sign over a form. Please make it happen. Step on me, mother.
I'm down to have a foursome with her and Matt Bomer. I know he's gay, but I am down to make it happen. Please call me if you're not listening to this, but if you want to, I will do it. You can slit my
I
throat at
I
the end.
would
I do
let
not
Matt
care.
Bomer demolish me. Demolish me.
Beautiful. Wonderful. And the thing with the Countess is that she has this thing where she falls in love, or not
Yeah.
necessarily falls in love even,
Stops.
be-
No.
becomes obsessed with somebody and turns them and makes them into her lovers. This is something she's been doing since
Or
her
collects them in just like her weird human collection.
yeah, it's something she's been doing since her husband, who was played by Evan Peters, spoiler alert, kills himself because he was a serial killer, and the police found out that he was the serial killer. We'll get into that later. But she's essentially trying her whole thing, and Tristan, I think, is the one that says this, like her whole thing, her orgasm or whatever, is to become obsessed with these people and then move on. Just like discard them like they were nothing and move on to the next person. So like she's she's doing her thing. She's killing people. She's turning people. She's having sex. She's having a good time.
She's
She's
just
a
like
gay icon.
a maternally unapologetic villain.
Yeah, the good thing about her is that she never kills kids. Like she says
Yeah.
that in the show. Like kids are off limits. Like she'll turn them into vampires, like little mini angelic looking vampires, but she won't kill them. Which, by the way, Ryan Murphy says these people aren't vampires. They're fucking vampires. Like you can't tell me that person that lives forever and drinks blood is not a vampire just because you didn't want them to be vampires.
Well,
You played
as
Bela
Lady Gaga
Lugosi's dead
says in
by
the show,
Bauhaus.
not technically immortal.
Still vampires.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot convince me otherwise. Is there anything more to say about the Countess? We all love her, right? We all stan?
We
I
all
I
stand.
yeah, I mean that's the thing is like I don't really know like the full extent of like people's disagreement with this series, or not
Oh, I
even the
should look
series,
that
like
up.
the season itself. So when I did a little bit of the research, I mean I watched it when it came out, and it just like the whole aesthetic of it, and like the set design was phenomenal. Like it really gave like this kind of like high
Presence. They made
society.
the hotel its own character.
Yeah, it's a high society like 20s era hotel, and like it's inviting but not really at the same time. Like it kind of gives you like a standoffish
Ominous.
feel for it. Yes, ominous. And it's just like, oh, I fucking love that. The costume designs on it was fucking beautiful. I loved all like everybody's costume design. I don't know why people were so upset with it.
And let's talk about like the detail within the costumes that were on the show.
Yeah.
Like Sad Sally, incredible.
I loved it.
Like the heroin chic, the crimped hair, the like pasty foundation that was applied with the fingertips, like immaculate. Immaculate costume, character design, set. There was a lot of love poured into this show by the crew, and you can really see that.
You can absolutely see it. Like absolutely. And that's where it's just like I don't have complaints about that. And then what I did notice is when I was looking it up and everything, you know, getting a little bit of research in for the technical side of it, I noticed that apparently season 8 was the worst episode in that season. So I watched it. And at first I didn't understand like what was the big deal about it until I heard your guys' sides, and now it kind of makes sense cuz yeah, the detective was pretty forgettable. And that was the whole big
it was
reveal.
all about him.
Yeah, it was the big reveal
Yeah.
for him, and that's where I was like, because like episode 7 was like the best one, apparently, according to Rotten Tomatoes, and then like episode 8 was like all the way down at the bottom of the chart, and then it just kind of regulated out with the rest of the episodes. So 7 was
and
best
I
one,
think-
8 was worst.
Well, I think what was really frustrating, at least like going through a second time and viewing it a few years, you know, since it came out, was that like once again, like you lost interest in the detective story pretty much immediately after the first episode, because all of these like far more interesting, freaky, complex, relatable, lovable characters, terrible villainous characters were introduced. And then you would only flash back to the detective story, or like flash into the detective story like every so often. And then like basically the finale is all centered around him. Like no one cares. No one cared about him.
Yeah.
That's something that actually pissed me off was like, obviously spoiler, he was the one that got to kill the Countess. That made me angry.
We legitimately don't even talk about that.
It should have been almost anyone else in that fucking hotel. Mainly, I wanted Liz to do it because I wanted her to get her revenge. But
Yes.
for some reason, they're like, oh no, we're just going to have the detective do it. The person nobody gives a shit about. The person no one cares about. That's who we're going to have kill her. Why?
And I
Why?
especially hated that they tried to paint it as like him getting his like rightful vengeance on her. Disgusting. Honestly, Hotel is a very good installment in the anthology of American Horror Story. It
Yes.
is in my top 5. It is easily one of the most frustrating ending wise, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think like I liked the ending that everyone got, minus I didn't care about what happened to the detective and his family. minus how she died. Like, I liked how obviously Liz Taylor got her happy ending, Iris got her happy ending. Everyone got their happy ending, essentially. I was cool with that. I did not like how she died.
Sally
That
got Instagram.
Sally got Instagram, and now she's like a grunge icon on Instagram. We stan. Will Drake is still like he's becoming an even more famous fashion designer. We love that. That was fine. But why did you have to? Why? Why did it
It
have to be
like
him?
it was ultimately like we knew she was gonna die. That was what
Yeah.
the series was leading up to. That's not really what I have a problem with because I
No.
don't think the season would have been as good if she had lived. It was
No,
that
absolutely
like
not.
literally everybody else had better motivations and had more reason to kill her and wasn't an actual literal serial killer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was very frustrating to me.
That was bullshit. Okay, where do we go from
As
here?
as far as the supporting cast goes, we've mentioned a few times we love Liz. Liz, I think, identifies as non-binary in the show, or
She's a
um,
woman.
oh,
She tells Tristan she's a woman.
oh, perfect. Oh, that's so sweet. So Liz is a woman. She happens to stop at the Cortez one day on a business trip and is able to be her true self for a few seconds until tragically the people that she's traveling with end up finding out. And that's okay because they die soon after.
Woohoo!
But the Countess offers her a position at the hotel and says that here she'll never have to hide herself. Like she can be who she always was meant to be. And this is when we as the audience start kind of falling in love with the Countess because we see how much Liz loves her and how much the Countess loves Liz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we see that good side of her.
Almost as like a mother would love her child. And it's the most touching. It's like
Oh, I cried.
it's like hopeful and gut wrenching, and it's easily the brightest, most shining scene I think in the series.
Yeah, in the entire season.
Yeah, no, easily, and it's it's hard to put into words like just how much that scene means to people like Liz, to people who are trans, to people who are non-binary, to people who just like legitimately do not feel seen by the world. And that is why Liz is probably our favorite character, is because even though the story is set up through the narration of the detective, it's Liz's eyes that we see the hotel through. And it's Liz's unique storytelling that shows the humanity within each of the individuals whose spirits are trapped in the hotel.
She also, like, not only did she have like some of the best fashion and the best lines, she also had like the best love story, in my
Yes,
personal opinion. Because like
absolutely.
she falls in love with Tristan, who's played by Finn Whitrock, who he's the current obsession that the Countess has after she dumps Matt Bomer. I get it. He's really hot. I understand why you dumped Matt Bomer. It's fine.
I
But
mean, I was hoping that Donnie and Tristan would run off together because, imagine.
yeah, but Tristan wasn't gay. He
This
made
is
that
true.
clear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they fall in love, and you only really get to see it for like one or two. You see it mainly for one episode and then a little bit at the end of the series. But like they genuinely love each other, and Liz treats him like he's not an idiot, and he treats her like the woman that she really is, and it makes her feel beautiful and happy, and she's just so happy. And because she loves the Countess so much, and because she knows the Countess loves her, she thinks it's safe to tell the Countess this and ask permission to have him. But I guess she never fully realized how fucking, even though I do think the Countess obviously loved Liz, how insanely selfish she was as a person.
Well, the
And
Countess is kind of like the ultimate narcissist.
yeah, 100%. And Liz was playing with her toy, and she couldn't have that. So she kills Tristan, which that scene, oh, I was like
Heartbreaking.
devastated. I was crying the first time. I was literally like
Same.
Game of Thrones, what that episode of Game of Thrones where they're like fighting the zombies crying. I was
Mhm.
not having it. And I was so angry like the rest of the season until the last episode, because like she didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve that. They fell in love, and it's not like the Countess really loved him. He was just her newest plaything. Like, it was just sad, and it made me pissed off. But she gets her comeuppance. She obviously, we said the Countess dies, and now she's stuck hanging out with her ex-husband for the all eternity. Have fun with that. And Liz eventually, after doing stuff with Will Drake with the fashion thing, and like her and Iris buying the hotel and revamping it and everything, she gets prostate cancer. Her and the Countess make up, and she gets reunited with Tristan. So she gets a happy ending, which she definitely deserves. If she didn't get a happy ending, I was gonna be pissed. I don't think I would have
Happy
loved this
ending.
season. Yeah.
So
I think she
anyway,
killed the least amount of people too.
Yes.
I don't think I saw her kill anyone except for
I don't think Liz
her attempt
killed
to kill
anyone.
the Countess. She just cleaned up their messes.
Character that I very much disliked, the laundress.
the what?
The
Oh, the
laundress.
maid?
Yes.
I call her the maid.
Oh, talk about a creep. I don't know. Like, it's not like she was even that significant of a character, but she just creepy little old lady. The blood.
Why are you
Oh,
calling
this
her
is
the
gonna
maid?
be hell to get out. I'm just like, ew, stop. And so, actually, I don't want to talk about the laundress. She just creeps me out. Do we want to mention who, like, Iris's backstory? Like, she's Donovan's mother,
She's Kathy
and
Bates.
blah blah blah. She's Kathy Bates. Oh, we can. Oh, damn it! I really want to save our Kathy Bates discussion for Roanoke.
I know.
and how
I'm
much
just
better
putting it
she
out there.
deserves.
Like, if you guys want to know why we like her, part of it is because it's Kathy Bates. Like,
Okay,
that's
yeah,
all you
let's
really
do that.
need.
Another one of the characters that really drives the plot along, even though they're considerably a more minor character in the show, is Iris, who we've mentioned a couple times on this podcast. So Iris is Donovan's mother, the boyfriend who the Countess had first, but then kicked out / dumped when she found Tristan. So everyone's following along. And so Iris is his mom, and so she doesn't want to leave the hotel because the only opportunity she has to see her son is when he's like walking through the lobby. And the entire time that they've been there, he's said like 5 words to her. Like, he does not apparently want anything to do with her. But a mother's love is unyielding, and so she just kind of like suffers his disdain and his indignities and just works for the Countess, who she hates because she, sees her as the person who stole her son away from her, which isn't completely fair because he was a dope addict that OD'd all of his own volition way before he ever met the Countess. So like there is a little like on her part like delusion of how innocent her little boy is, which she refers to him as her little boy several times. Kathy Bates executes the role incredibly well. I feel like it's almost unnerving how easily she's able to get into these characters' heads and like evoke them onto the screen. What would this series be without her? Honestly.
I agree.
Ooh, Tristan is a model that we meet through one of the very first fashion show that happens in the hotel after the new owner bought it and was like, this is the perfect place to inspire my newest collection. Anyway, he hires Tristan because he's like the it boy in the modeling industry at the time. And he's kind of like a psycho coke fiend, and he just kind of like throws his life around in like a joking manner because like I don't know, he's frustrated that things just come easy to him. It's kind of unclear at first like what his motivations are, but he like cuts his face and he's like, I'm done with modeling. And I guess the Countess finds this like incredibly sexy and that like pushes her to turn him.
That, and he looks the
Anywho,
most like her one true love, Rudolph Valentino.
this is true. So yeah, that's the backstory of Tristan. He has some issues controlling his anger, and he's very attractive, and he falls in love with Liz, and that's his like redeeming arc of him finding out what caring for another person feels like.
Yeah, he had a really good character arc. Like he
He
loved
did.
her, and then he died, and he refused to see her as a ghost because he didn't want her to like, get
Not be
wrapped
able
up in
to move
it.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he wanted her to live life. And
Oh, it was just so, it was truly wonderful.
yeah.
Those are definitely my favorite characters.
Yeah. There are others. I don't know if we want to get into every single character because, like I said, this isn't a review. This is just us explaining why people who hate it are wrong.
And just what we like about it, I guess. I feel like this turned into more of like, I really like this scene, and this is really sweet, which, like, I think those are all valid reasons to like the show, is like sweet, tender moments and, homosexual, erotic, gorish group play.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, all of that is wonderful.
we like it.
Like it. Yeah, I feel good in all of the points that were made. What
What
about you,
do we
Bree?
want to like? Do we want to touch on technical stuff? Do we want to touch on the music stuff? Because
Oh
I'm
yeah,
down
let's
for
talk
all.
about mood and lighting. Kelsey had a really good point that we were talking about earlier before we started recording about how much symbology in the show was made by the lighting, specifically
Mhm.
using the blue, the pink, and the purple tones,
Oh, I literally
especially when we were.
all I said was bisexual lighting. So I don't know if that was a good point.
Well, bisexual lighting, which means pink, blues, and purples. Especially when we were given scenes of the Countess, she literally has blue lighting and a hot neon pink sign in the penthouse suite where she resides. Like, it wasn't exactly subtle.
Yeah, Bree, you're the
Ooh,
more technical
very.
person.
What's that?
Hmm?
I was saying Bree is the more technical person. Did she want to add anything?
No, like I said, like there wasn't really anything special or noteworthy to notice about the production line. I mean, other than the fact that this is when they went back to LA from being in Louisiana for most of their shoots. And apparently that was only for like a creative decision, not like anything else, like purposeful. It's just they
Yeah.
wanted the aesthetic. But I
They
mean,
also wanted another tie to Murder House because there's
yeah.
a lot of that in there this
But
season.
yeah, like I said before, it's just I liked the pacing of all the episodes. I do remember that. I really liked the pacing. It was easy to keep in touch with it and easy to stay on track and whatnot. The freaking camera angles and the shots, like it was
So well done.
it was so well done because like you could really feel yourself like involved in it, even if you like there were some characters that you didn't like or whatnot, like you could still like they did a really good job of like kind of placing you there like mentally. Like I don't have a whole lot to say about it because I really liked everything about it. For like the technical side, like the fucking costume design, like Josh was talking about, fucking like beautiful. Like the makeups was great. The freaking kill scenes were amazing. Like
I really liked the lobby. I was like obsessed with the lobby for some reason.
Yeah, it was just
I
I
thought that was
really
such a
loved
lot.
the aesthetic of it, and I loved how well that like the audio and the visual just like worked together. There wasn't really an awkward spot for me. And I'm like usually pretty quick on finding like awkward scenes and scenarios.
Yeah.
I also, and this is probably just me, but I actually liked the camera shots and the setup they did on the kill scenes that we had to watch of the detective, where they came to the murder spots, and like it was almost like a little homoerotic, if that makes any sense. Like especially the two brothers that were, I guess, accused of like plotting to murder their parents or something. So they're like hung in this
Very
like
Menendez
bondage.
brothers of them, by the way.
Very Menendez brothers. They were hung like very a la like leather daddy strap situation. And even though they were like disemboweled, they still like retained their abs on the sides. Like there was a lot of like those kind of scenes. It was like
Yeah.
it was almost like we're like objectifying the male form while at the same time like I don't know. It was interesting and I appreciated it.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say because I didn't have a whole lot to complain about. It was wonderful. It
Mm-hmm.
was beautiful. It was enjoyable, and I do not understand people's complaints. Other than the detective thing, I do not understand people's complaints.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm just before we get into like music and shit. Like, for some reason nowadays, it's super cool to hate American Horror Story in general, and that kind of started happening with Freak Show, which on another episode we will talk about. Like, we're gonna talk about more of the seasons, and I will definitely rant on how much I fucking hate Freak Show. But it's kind of a thing now in mainstream fucking online culture to like hate on anything American Horror Story, and I don't really get it most of the time. Like sometimes I do, like obviously with Freak Show, Roanoke, whatever. But with this season, I'm just like, I don't get why y'all are mad. Like what is there to be mad about besides the detective storyline? Like I don't it doesn't really make sense to me, and I'm somebody that usually agrees with critics. Like you guys know that. Like
Mm-hmm.
most movies and shit, like I'm more aligned with the critics than I am with audiences because I think most audiences are stupid, no offense. But I don't get this one. Like what is the problem? Like it's everything that I want. It's bloody, gay, erotic, goth, ghost vampire, everything I want. Every that's like I think that's my thing. I love ghost stories, and and Hotel is a ghost story with vampires in it, essentially, when you think about it. And there's a lot of tie to true crime, which if you love true crime, why did you hate Hotel? I don't I just it's very confusing to me.
Honestly, it really did feel like Hotel was when the series started to really draw from like based on true events, inspirational storylines, which we
Well, I mean,
love.
they apparently they've always been doing that. Like, I don't remember what the true story. Well, I mean, like the Black Dahlia
Well,
murder.
Asylum, I know was based loosely on true story accounts of like mistreatment.
Yeah, and Coven, I don't know where that. Well, Coven, Kathy Bates' character and Angela
Yeah,
Bassett's character were based on real people. So they've always kind of done that. I don't know what Freak
but
Show.
I feel,
They had some stuff too. Yeah. So I don't
but
know.
I mean, like I feel like from the hotel to being inspired by H. Holmes to uh, just like I really do feel like even the murders they did draw a lot more from like true crime and things like that than they'd ever done before as a series or
Yeah,
as
I
an
mean, like
anthology,
literally, the
I should
hotel
say.
is based on, like we said, the hotel itself is based on the H. Holmes Hotel and the Hotel Cecil, which are like big true crime stories.
Hubs,
Like, because
hubs. We should honestly maybe do a podcast on that. Yeah, let us know in the comments if you would actually like us to do a follow-up episode talking about the two hotels that inspired American Horror Story Hotel.
yeah, I mean,
Murder
obviously, like
house.
there's definitely a plethora of information on on both hotels. So if you want us to, we will. It's very sad, especially the Cecil Hotel. Like, not to get too much into it right now, but like it's good. That one's probably going to be sad because a lot of people have turned like all these tragedies that have happened there into stupid ghost stories. So that one's going to
Um,
be a little bit of
we
downer.
would be more focusing on the
Yeah,
actual true crime aspects of it.
yeah, no ghosts for you on that one. Like, no, thank you. But yeah. So another fun aspect about this season is that the soundtrack is probably one of the best soundtracks of the entire series. I think 1984 had a good
Easily.
soundtrack, but like this this
We'll talk about
we'll talk about that
that.
later. But this one was definitely the soundtrack was probably my favorite of the entire series because it's mainly goth and goth adjacent bands, and like I was like, oh, I appreciate that. I was telling Bree, I think it was Bree that I was telling this to. I was like, I wonder if like a hotel is why like is slowly how I became goth because I always point it back to like the Supernatural episode where I first heard Bauhaus, but that same song plays in Hotel, and I watched Hotel before I watched Supernatural, so I'm wondering if that's why I'm goth. Another reason to love Hotel, it'll turn you goth. So they have like
Ooh, also just to support the theory that this was a very homosexual season, Naomi Campbell is in it, and
ew,
she
I hate
looks
her.
amazing.
I hope
I
she goes
love
to
her so
prison.
much.
Ew, why? She
Stop.
trafficked children. Stop. Didn't you know
Chelsea,
that?
we cannot make accusations that are not founded.
She allegedly trafficked children with Jeffrey Epstein. Therefore, I don't like her.
We don't know that this is true.
That's why I said allegedly, but it's probably true allegedly. Does that make you
I
feel
personally
better?
don't think so, and I thought her little cameo was super cute.
That was one of my least favorite things. We have very different opinions on Naomi Campbell. We've been having this fight for years.
Well,
So
literally since high school, it's fine.
it's fine. But yeah, she was in
It's
here
not that
at
deep, you
the
guys. She's well aware that I like Naomi Campbell, and I'm well aware that
I
she does
loved
not
watching
love
her
me.
get murdered. that was
I know
that was
you did.
wild.
I know you did.
But
I also kind of liked watching Naomi Campbell get murdered because, I mean, iconic, legendary. What a fashionable way to die.
100%.
Yeah, no, I agree with Kelsey. The music was superb, honestly. I love the Depeche Mode. I loved The Cure. It fed my little gothic soul. It was beautiful. It was spooky. It fit into the season actually pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, they had
It worked with the different eras that they were playing with. It really did kind of make the season better. And that's I feel like it shouldn't be, but that is kind of rare where the soundtrack actually like it's like the final cherry on top. Like it not only like completes the season, but it actually is like such a benefit, such a great tool that was used very effectively.
Yeah, and if you want to check out the soundtrack yourself, there's playlists of it on Spotify. Like they had Joy Division, like he said, The Cure, Depeche Mode, Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus, She Wants Revenge, Echo and the Bunnymen, Nick Cave, all sorts of goth adjacent stuff, and for some reason Drake. Um, that's fine. I don't get it, but it worked in the scene that it was in, so whatever.
It did work in the scene that it was in.
But I don't like his music. It's boring to me. But in that scene, it worked really, really, really well.
If you're not a fan of Drake, you can just press that little next button, that little skip button, and it'll take you right to another great song.
100. So, yeah, is there anything else that we wanted to add? Are we good ending it there?
Yeah.
Wow, the enthusiasm. Wow, so good.
Well, yeah.
Top of the line.
Yeah.
First place.
I don't know how many times I can say, like, I don't understand. Y'all weird.
Essentially, if you haven't watched Hotel, go watch it. Don't listen to the naysayers. Make up your own mind about it. If you don't like it, that's fine. We're all allowed to have wrong opinions from time to time. It's okay. And if you are listening and you don't like it, let us know in the comments below. And because I want to know. I honestly want to know.
We would love to actually engage in this discussion of why you didn't like American Horror Story Hotel, because like honestly, I feel like even if it wasn't like the season for you, there was still some really cool scenes in it.
Yeah. I just like I want to know, like, this isn't like I know I'm joking and like saying like wrong opinion or whatever, but I genuinely want to know, because all I've seen is like the stuff about the detective and that it's tedious. I don't get the tedious part. Like I don't really understand unless you're talking about the detective. So just if you want to tell us, let us know, because I'm genuinely confused. Like I can get on here and talk shit about Roanoke all day. Like we can have that discussion too. But I don't get it.
We will have that discussion.
We will have that discussion. But yeah, I guess that's it. Make sure you follow us on Anchor and all of our little places. They will be listed on Anchor, like where you can find us. I don't have anything else to say. Oh, there are links in our previous episode. I might put them in this one for mutual aids and stuff. I know that like I think the power's turned back on in Texas, but like it doesn't hurt to like donate to these organizations, because people are still going to be struggling. Like we're talking like tens of thousands of dollars in debt with their power company, which is just bullshit. But if you want to click on those links and donate and share, like
utilities should be free.
Anyway, anything else?
Thank you, listeners, for roaming the hallways that are haunted by horrors with us for another hour of your life. You can get our company again soon, my dear. But for now, goodbye.
It's still going.
This has been Natasha Crava Pizza of the House of Belarus signing off.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, everybody.